Off Limits is the money podcast that blows up stereotypes, showing you that managing money doesn't have to be hard.
We want you to thrive, not only with your money, but in every part of your life.
What you will get out of this podcast is real, relatable, and relevant tips and strategies that you can apply today. Hi, I'm Donald Raymond, and this is
Christine Spiak. We are money coaches, business owners, and colleagues who are passionate about helping you become more of who you are. So if you're ready, join us. When we talk about the how, we're looking at first and foremost the expenses that we have to pay for in order to survive, right? We're thinking about our transportation, our utilities, our mortgage or our rent, our home, our food. Maybe we have a health problem and our medicine is very important, or seeing a doctor on a monthly basis. Like, we need to make sure all of our needs are being met when we are writing our budget for whatever time period that we are writing it for. That is so critically, crucially important that we're setting out with our needs and then following up with our wants.
Yeah, and that's where I think the percentages become a really good tool. Build your budget, use your numbers, figure out what they are. But the percentages, they kind of have a natural byproduct where it's so easy to see that a larger percentage of something is being spent in a category, right? As opposed to which number is bigger and how does that represent a bigger or smaller portion of my income. If you can put them into percentages, it's something that we've all been taught, and it's something that everybody just kind of intuitively knows. And it helps with that priority, right? If we're not prioritizing the right things and our budget is skewed as a result of that, then our needs may not be covered. And that may be the first adjustment that you need to make, is making sure that those needs are covered within your means, within your income, before any of the wants start getting funded. And sometimes those can get out of order simply just because they're a want, right? We want what we want. We're all human,
right?
We want things, and we see things, and we have impulses, and sometimes we don't have the discipline to say no, or the responsibility to say no. And some people, I was talking to somebody the other day that said, I'm tired of saying no, and I don't have the energy to say no anymore. And when my kids want something, sometimes I just cave and I say, okay. And I know we can't afford it, but I just don't have it in me to say no anymore. I've said no too much, and
the struggle is real.
The struggle's real. So this is life, right? And we learn from those things. And again, I think, talking through that scenario specifically, budgeting and planning and being proactive became the motivation and the encouragement that this individual needed to be able to say no. And it wasn't a no anymore. Right now, it was a family plan, and the whole family knew that this is the plan going forward. And once the money in this category is gone, I don't even need to ask, because the answer is an automatic no. It's not right. That, somebody's being a bad guy, or they don't love me, or I'm not going to get what I want. You bring your whole family into this discussion, which I think is critical in this how category, that anybody in the household that's affected by this budget, which is everybody in the household, needs to be part of this discussion. They should all be involved.
I think what happens sometimes, at least conversations I've had with people, they think that telling their kids no, their kids are going to think, well, we can't afford it. We must be in a dire financial situation. Right. Or I don't want to say the word budget to my kids because it makes it sound like we can't afford something. I think it's the opposite. I think your example speaks to that. When we have a plan for our money, if what we want to do doesn't fall into that plan, we either change what we want to do, put it off, do it when we can afford it, or we look at it as a way to teach our kids that, hey, if you show a little bit of intentionality, right, and restraint, you can do more things that you want to do because you're actually doing the things that you want to do. And because you're not just doing everything all at once and just throwing everything out the window, then you can participate in the things you want to do. You can cash flow them so there is no regret afterwards. And it's okay not to be able to do everything. That's what life is. We can't do everything in life.
And there's such an interesting thing, too, that happens. And I think it happened. We're all built this way. But I've seen it more in my child, Ethan, our son, and just observing, other kids, preteens, teens, as they work toward something. And there's this natural I think urge, desire as a parent to want to, give your kids as much as possible, make sure they have a better life than we had. I think that's totally normal, totally natural. And to the extent that we can afford to, we should, right? And that's reasonable. But it's interesting what happens when the first time, or even the first few times, and really every time that you encourage and are successful in getting your child or anyone to really earn something, sacrifice something in the pursuit of something else, make a priority out of something. And it doesn't have to be something better, right? So an example, my son needed or wanted a toy, a game that he wanted to play. And we had already spent that month's entertainment budget. And so it's a common conversation in our household. I said, hey, bud, we can buy that next month. But this month, our entertainment budget is depleted. We bought some things early on. There's a couple of subscription services that he has that go into that account. And so that account was tapped out for the month. And so it wasn't a no. It kind of was a not now. But the explanation was you've spent your entertainment money. We've spent the entertainment money for this month. It's gone. And he just very willingly, because of our dynamic in the household, he accepted that. I mean, it was fine. Well, later he went and he got creative. He went home and he found a way to build out of cardboard and, toothpicks and popsicle sticks, this like cheap version of the game. And this was a year ago, he is still playing with that toy. And he doesn't want the game. The thing he built that he sacrificed for and made with his own hands it's more appealing, and now I ask him if he wants it and he's like, no, I don't want to spend our money on that. I already built it. I don't need it now. So, it's cool what happens when you do say no, but the no becomes an opportunity for something else.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Off Limits.
Beyond the podcast, we are money coaches who want to help you.
So if you are looking for help managing your money, use the links in the description below to contact either of us and learn how coaching can help you thrive.
Lastly, please help us to spread the word by subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing our podcast with your friends and family.